Hi, Raj.
Hi.
Yes. Exciting times ahead in Sharjah at the moment. So it's been an eventful week for you.
Very, very eventful. Obviously, dealing with all these vendors and our wonderful investors as well.
Fantastic news. So, I'm actually really looking forward to obviously this next few months, upcoming months, with obviously the build of the data center as such. But going that back aside, we've spent, or you have spent some time in the last 6 to 8 months talking to young people, the 18 to 20s, 21s, even younger at some stage. And you've been to a lot of colleges based in the Sharjah region, Higher College of Technology, and the University of Zayed, take for examples, right? Now, you've been able to explain yourself in terms of what the company actually does, but we hear a lot about governments wanting entrepreneurs to really push forward, and yes, haven't go to university, look at entrepreneurship, let's open our own business, let's help to grow the economy as such. As someone that's dealt with younger people, let's say as such, what would be your 3 key points on what knowing everything that you know at this moment and the point you are in your life at the moment? What can you point to, or 3 points that you could give advice to people or younger people of a certain age, be it 16, 21?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, and these are the 3 things I have in mind: is to read, be authentic, as they say, keep it 100, and also to be creative. The reading part, and I put that first because the way I think anyway that most brains take in information, there's an effort behind reading. For instance, you can read 10, 15, 20, 30 pages. You should feel tired after that. If you sit there and watch a documentary that might be on the same subject, your brain tends to go into sort of a not a lazy or relaxed mode. You don't tend to retain the information, and you're not trying to think through what the scenario is. So reading as an exercise generally is good. Reading obviously information that you're trying to, new information that you're trying to learn about, I think is fantastic. That is the best way the brain will learn. So the reading side, I think, is the foundation of everything. And that's what, again, I went through my reading the tech transfer, reading the university research papers, which were a tough read. But I used to read these things 2, 3, 4 times because obviously there's value, there's money in these, right? So I had to go through that. And the second one is obviously be authentic. I've tried to be in a business before where I wouldn't say I was trying to appease or change for any particular people. I think there was obviously, you hear stories, you read biographies. You should be like this. You should be like this. You should do like this. No, I think you got to be yourself. That's the key thing. I mean, not everyone's a man manager. Not everybody's a product person. Not everybody's going to be a skillful negotiator or networker. But obviously, if you're going to run a business, unfortunately, you have to do everything. And as you know, I do many things badly, right? But I've had to do them. And as we grow, we'll give those tasks away. But you have to be authentic. I think once you start sort of changing yourself to try and fit a certain way, simple things, if you don't wear flash watches, don't get a flash watch to try and impress somebody.
Yeah.
You're not being real to yourself, right? You don't have to do certain things like that. Yes, you have to be smart and tidy. I think that's the key. But your values are the sort of the way that you will define, and you'll always be more comfortable and truthful that way. And the last one is create, right? Creative is one of the hardest things I think I've had to not learn as such. I think everybody's creative, but it's more to do with knowing how to be creative and having the patience to do it. So you can have an idea. You can, I've been in situations where you sit there for half a day, thinking, I've got to come up with an idea, and you'll get nothing. And you can basically be asleep, wake up for 10 minutes, and if you don't have a pen and paper there to sort of write down what you're thinking at that moment, obviously that idea goes. So being creative, everybody's got it in them. It's whether they can have the time or the relaxed mind to be able to do that. And creation should never be, and this goes back to the authentic thing. You shouldn't be wanting to create because you think, I could make money out of this.
Right.
Creativity is just about being creative, whether that's a drawing, a painting, coming up with an idea. You know, and those three things I think are quite valuable for them.
No, I mean, you know, just going back to your first point of reading, were you an avid reader when you were young? I mean, I'm talking from the ages of 11 up to 18. When did you really seriously think about reading? You know, be it fiction, non-fiction, articles, tutorials, and so forth.
No, so to be fair, I was actually, because I was big into sort of economic news and current affairs, so 15, 16 years old, I was actually reading, I think I was reading The Economist at that age, up to maybe sort of mid-20s or whatever, and then, you know, you think you sort of know everything, and that's one of the things in it, and, you know, back in our day, sort of that years, you know, it's lifetime jobs or lifetime professions.
Yeah.
Only in the last sort of 5-10 years are people saying, well, actually, it's lifelong learning.
Right.
Right, so that's the big change that's happened now, right? I mean, you know, from you know, the team that we're putting together, you know, we don't look for the experience, we look for aptitude. You know, we look for somebody who's done certain types of reading. Do they have something on their CV that's a bit off the wall, but it looks at, you know, there's something that extracts out there that's to do with values, right? So, you know, we've got, for instance, we've got you know, obviously the girl in Tashkent, Robbie. She's someone who's 14 years old. She's doing some marketing for us, and she does go-karting. Right, not a standard thing you'd have for someone like that, but again, open-minded to it. We've got someone like Sully, haven't we, who sits in Oman in Muscat. Again, someone who's in Muscat. He's doing his degree in University of Kent.
Yeah.
Right. So if we look, I mean, we're not saying these are exceptional items, but the idea is that do people have an open mind into new things? And I think even the OSINT team, you know, we're doing an open source intelligence team at the moment. We've got a behavioral scientist and we've got a lawyer on there. And the beauty of it is you send them, you know, long page documents, they read them.
Yeah.
So I think reading is you know, there are, you know, I think it was the internet is 80% video at the moment, or 80% of the data is video at the moment, which is a bit of a worry.
Right.
Yeah, but it just shows that if you're reading, that will still give you an advantage, because you'll also write, and that's part of the creativity. You have to write, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it works hand in hand, you know, your creativity with the reading as such. I mean, you mentioned something there, you know, about the authenticity of it all, you know, and you spoke about having to fit in. You know, it used to be, you know, a lot of kids do it, adults do it, peer pressure, they want to fit in with the crowd, social media as such. How do you get that breakaway chain away from being yourself, as opposed to let's just join this kind of gang of who seem to be doing the same thing? Judge me on the car I drive, or, you know, there you go, this is where I am.
Well, no, that's a great point. I mean, if you look at the UAE, and I think that people underestimate the UAE, the number of nationalities here, the number of cultures here, the amount of respect for each culture, the amount of respect for each nationality. There's probably one or two other places in the world. I think Las Vegas sort of has it, but that's a cross section of America. You know, UAE, you know, let's say Dubai, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, it's a cross section of the world.
Yeah.
Because you've got all that in a mixing melting pot. You know, what we're going to try and do, you know, you can't, you know, like I say, there's certain cultures that are maybe ostentatious, certain cultures that are, you know, I mean, again, there's stereotypes, aren't there, about being tight or whatever. You know, here, there's, you know, you can be talking to a Filipino 1 second, the next minute, another Indian, another British guy, and you're talking to someone from Australia. So the UAE, I think, is undersold in the sense that, obviously, in terms of how it brings many different ideas together, that you forget about, you know, you have to be authentic. Because you just can't keep up with all the different groups, can you? So you have to be yourself. And that's part of the interest I think everybody has in you. You know, the social circle, the friends that we have here, we built them over 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? There's something going on all the time. And I think that sort of shows as well the authenticity in how you operate will always come through.
Well, I mean, you've kind of hit the nail on the head there. You mentioned a cross section of different people and the you know, the mixing melting pot of different nationalities. Does that help with creativity in terms of ideas?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the diverse group we have here that we're hiring as well. I mean, one can argue that sometimes the economy is not as big as it is in you know, the sort of Western world, or whatever. But that's the actual opportunity. You've got people from a different culture who've come here. They're motivated, right? They're here to, you know, to make money. They've got a great environment, so the environment is top draw. And then on top of that, it's like you've got a mixture of people who are obviously, let's say the main reason why they're here is because of the way the country is set up and the opportunity the countries give. But everyone comes again different mentality, isn't it? You know, I wouldn't say, you know, I don't want to say we're the most sort of diverse company out here at the moment, but we're going that way, aren't we?
Yeah,
we've got a mix of the Emiratis, we've got Indians, we've got Filipinos, we're looking at Russians, you know, Ukrainians and things like that as well.
but I don't think it's just a mix of different peoples. We also the ages vary, you know, amongst our own company. We've got very young compared to myself and yourself, to obviously the elder statesman of the company. So you've got that level of experience, and then you've got younger people with obviously their hand on the pulse of technology, you know, social media.
Exactly. So social media. So that goes back to, I think, again, the whole point of the creativity. You know, you and I'm not saying we're forced into doing what we're doing, but we've definitely been driven by it. Obviously, what the young people are doing in terms of obviously how they consume media, right? So it helps us, doesn't it? You know, we've done TikTok videos, we've done the Instagrams. Obviously, they're not as flashy as some of the other ones, but who knows? Who knows? We might build up to that. You know, I've been practicing some dance moves and whatever. So from that perspective, yes, you're right. That helps, doesn't it? You know, that broad appeal that broad platform that we're providing is all inclusive, and because again, you have no choice there. Because the way that the countries are put together.
Right. Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. No, really appreciate that, Roger. Thank you very much for that. And 3 key points and a bit of explanation on all 3. So thank you for that, Rog.
Thank you.
Thank you.